Welcome to episode 59 of the BRASH Sports Podcast. We got a little Super Bowl wrap-up to get into. We got some long-term, way too early Super Bowl predictions to make for next year. I guess whole season predictions, right? So stay tuned for all of it, because at this point, you probably haven't heard any recaps of the Super Bowl. You want to get our opinions on the game, so make sure to hang tight, because you won't want to miss the predictions. You won't want to miss our breakdown of Super Bowl 58, which took place on our episode was 58, and then Super Bowl 58 happened. We didn't even realize it, and now we're making predictions for Super Bowl 59 on episode 59. So a little serendipity there. I think it could bode well for us, Brandon. First of all, how the hell are you doing, my friend?
Doing good, my friend. I'm excited to get into this episode. This is a big one for us. This is our traditional Super Bowl recap a week after the Super Bowl takes place. That's what we like to do.
It's tradition.
So we recap the Super Bowl late, but then we make our way too early bold predictions at the same time. So
yes,
a lot is riding on this episode 59.
That's how our fans want us to do it, by the way.
That's true.
If it were up to us, we would do it differently, but
Nope.
Everybody asks us to do it this way, so that's just how we do it.
We're here for the fans. The fans. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We could jump right into our Super Bowl 58 recap, Josh.
Yeah, why not, dude?
In case you missed it, Kansas City, they won the Lombardi, and Pat Mahomes, the MVP for the third time, Josh, in 5 years, beating the 49ers in Las Vegas by a score of 25-22. You and I, we knew it was going to be a 3-point win, regardless of who got that win. But points were hard to come by in the early goings of this one. It was Christian McCaffrey recorded the only touchdown in the first half. He ran the ball in from the 21-yard line after receiving a pass from wide receiver Juwan Jennings. So there you have it. There's that prop bet that we both picked wrong. Will a non-quarterback throw a touchdown? And that was the first touchdown of the game, only one of the first half. Niners did lead at halftime 10-3. And after Jake Moody, rookie kicker, nailed a 55-yard field goal in the second quarter, he actually held the all-time Super Bowl kicking record for longest kick. But it was short-lived because it was soon surpassed by Chiefs Harrison Butker, who nailed a 57-yarder at the tail end of the third quarter. So, a little bittersweet for poor Jake Moody over there. Butker finished the day 4 for 4 from the field and 1 extra point to boot, accounting for 13 of Kansas City's 25 total points, leading 19-16 with less than 2 minutes to go in regulation. The Niners, their defense was unable to stop the Chiefs' offense from easily rolling 64 yards right down the field and inevitably kicking the game-tying 29-yard field goal, which brought the Super Bowl into overtime. I believe that's the second overtime I've seen in Super Bowl history.
The only other one I remember is with Brady's comeback against the Falcons.
The only one.
That one was definitely overtime. I don't
of.
remember any others.
It's probably been other ones. There's just not.
It would be too hard to look it up. So,
and San Francisco did win the toss in overtime because they went tails, and it was tails. They elected to receive. A lot of people giving them some crap about that. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't quite understand the argument there, but
I don't think there's a wrong way to. I mean, all right, we can get in that later. Let's recap.
They received the ball. They cruised right down the field, but they were stifled, Josh, at the 9-yard line. Kyle Shanahan, he chose to kick that 27-yard field goal, opposed to going for it on 4th and 4. Wasn't a big fan of that call. And that decision did prove costly as the Chiefs' offense couldn't not be stopped. And they quickly marched 75 yards all the way to the end zone. Just as predicted in everybody's book, it was McCole Hardman who caught the 3-yard game-winning touchdown pass. And we are undoubtedly in the midst of the Chiefs era. How long will it last, Josh?
Great question. Hadn't thought about it. I think at least a couple more years. I mean, the reason why I liked them to repeat, and just a friendly reminder, I did call this Super Bowl in case anyone forgot. because I didn't mention it enough last episode. The main reason is because their defense is so good and so young. They're barely paying anybody on defense. I do think they'll bring Chris Jones back, but other than that, they got to pay L'Jarius Sneed, or they could let him go. They're really good at drafting cornerbacks.
Yep.
So I think they're going to be around for as long as Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes decide to keep going together. Mahomes is just unbelievable. He's maybe the best quarterback I've ever seen. I don't want to do the, is he catching Tom Brady? Where is he at in that process? Because I'm so sick of hearing about it. It's all you hear on all of the major sports networks when you turn it on. It's the new is LeBron James, Michael Jordan debate. Like, this is the new thing that they're wasting time talking about. But he's unbelievable. He's maybe the best quarterback I've ever seen. And if he's your quarterback, you're going to have a chance. But how long will it last? I would say they're going to be in the mix for at least the next 3 years. Because at that point, that's way, looking beyond that would be really dumb to do, because who the hell knows, a lot can happen in 3 years. But I think at least 3 years, you can bank on them being in the mix and probably getting one more. Minimum.
As long as it's Mahomes and Andy Reid as that dangerous duo, they will absolutely be in the mix. And in my book, they will 100% be in the AFC title game as long as Mahomes and Andy Reid are there. I mean, you can put all your money on that. It's going to happen. So, who will play them in the AFC Championship? That's another story, Josh. But we'll get to our Super Bowl 59 predictions a little later on. Let's get into our prop bets, because we went and rolled through that last time. I didn't have any money on the line, but I think you put a couple bucks down. So let's
dude, I had a great Super Bowl gambling.
Nice.
It was the first like NFL Sunday in a while that I would just cleaned up, felt really good about it. But yeah, we can get into our prop bets. Quick recap. We went through these quickly last week. We'll run through them fast right now. Mahomes over 262.5 yards. I had the over. You had the under. The over hit. He had 333. Mahomes 26.5 rushing yards. We both had the over. We both hit that at 66. Mahomes 1.5 passing touchdowns. We both had the over. We both hit because he had 2. Mahomes over 0.5 interceptions hit, because he did throw that one that was just a bad throw. It was like,
I felt it. I felt he was going to throw an interception.
I did not. So that was, that kind of evened the score for us, because I had under, you had over, you hit that. Next up, Brock Purdy, 246 pass yards, barely snuck over with 255. You had the over, I had the under. So you took a little lead there. Next up, Brock Purdy, 12.5 rushing yards. We were both heavy on the over. A lot of people bet this as an over, and he had 13 at one point, took a knee at the end of the first half, if you remember, which dropped him down to 12, and then didn't get another rushing yard in the second half. So a lot of people pissed off. That's a bad beat right there. If you did bet over 12.5, we had over 25.
Yep, I did. I'll take full responsibility for that.
No, I loved that one. I liked that one better than my underdog, which ended up hitting, but that would, to me, felt easy. I mean, I went with over in this. We both missed. That was the only one that we both agreed on that missed. Next up, Purdy, 1.5 passing touchdowns. You had the over. I had the under. It did go under. He only had 1. He had as many as Juwan Jennings. Then we had Brock Purdy, 0.5 interceptions. I had over. You had under. This was actually one of my favorite bets. I did bet this as a single and lost. One of the few bets that I lost, because he didn't throw a single interception. Props to him.
He doesn't throw a lot of picks.
No, he doesn't. But I thought, the pressure of the Super Bowl and that Chiefs defense would, force a turnover. But he didn't even really have any close calls. Like, he was very careful with the ball. I think he had a solid game. Next up, Travis Kelce, over under 72.5 receiving yards. we both went over. We both hit. Even though the first half was dicey, I think he only had like 1 yard.
It was
in
the first 3
half.
quarters. I mean, it was that fourth quarter where he really got going, right? And overtime.
Yes. Yeah, overtime definitely helped. That long pass, oh, so good. That short catch over the middle, and he just broke outside. I don't think I've ever seen him run so fast. I was like, who is this little speed demon? Like, normally he's just like big, catch the ball, people bounce off him. No, he was like outrunning people in that play. That was crazy. George Kittle, 49.5 receiving yards. We both went under, and we both hit by a mile. He only had 4 yards on the game.
Stinky poo.
Not great.
Stinky
poo. So not sure if that was just great defensive scheming or what happened there, but 4 yards, not going to cut it. Rashee Rice, 67.5 receiving. You were on the under. You were correct because he ended the game with 39. A lot of unders coming up here. Deebo Samuel, 58.5. You were on the over. I was on the under. The under hit with 33. Ayuk, 62.5, another one that I was very confident in betting the single. I think I called it out at the end of last episode. I loved the under, and the under did hit with 49. Isaiah Pacheco, 67.5 rushing yards. You liked the over. I liked the under. He ended with 59, so barely under. And then CMC, 89.5 rushing yards. We both liked the under. We both hit that because he ended at 80, but we loved the over for 128 total yards for CMC. He finished with 160 total yards, 80 receiving, 80 rushing. He had a hell of a game, man. It sucks that I felt most badly for him because he had an unbelievable game. He's fought his ass off the entire time he's been in the league. The guy, not many people in the league deserve a Super Bowl CMC, but we were both on the over for that. So the totals for just the stats, we both hit 10 out of 16 for those. So we tied.
Yep.
So props to us.
Way to
and
go
10
us.
out of 16 is pretty good. Way to go us. If you went and put singles on every single one of those bets and went 10 out of 16, you're making money. So good for us. The Super Bowl MVP was Patrick Mahomes. He was the favorite to win it at plus 140. You had the heads right for the coin toss. And you did say that the Chiefs would defer, and they did. We were both on the over for the national anthem, which I thought for sure when she came out of the gates fucking firing.
She was flying through that thing.
She's like, oh, say can you see? She was rapping the national anthem and still somehow went over. I guess she just held those late notes, but I thought that would be a loss, but we both hit there. Chris Jones did cry during the national anthem, and they showed it on TV, so we both hit yes for that. Will a non-quarterback throw a touchdown? It was plus 460, and you had yes.
I had
until
yes,
I said,
and then I changed it.
It was
because
I think we thought it was just pass,
I thought it was just pass,
but not touchdown,
and I wasn't confident in the touchdown. And frankly, that was almost right because it looked like it was just a pass. But then CMC was able to take it to the house. I mean, that was impressive. I didn't think he had the space to do that, but.
Great blocking on that play. Textbook. Will there be an onside kick? We both had no. We were both correct. And will any player propose to his girlfriend on the field after the game? I said yes. You said no. I looked it up. There was no evidence of it happening. Obviously, Travis Kelce didn't. So that was the one that everybody kind of thought like, oh, he's going to propose to Taylor Swift. He didn't.
Good.
Purple Gatorade was your winner there. You were on blue. I was on yellow. If you combined ours, you would make green. So we didn't even hit that. But purple Gatorade for the second year in a row. Those Chiefs love their purple Gatorade. And then, of course, the bet that everyone was wondering about, will the game broadcast be interrupted by live images of Patrick Mahomes Sr. driving a white Bronco at plus 100,000? That did hit. We both said no, but
we'll break that down a little later on.
That was a crazy one. Nobody saw that coming. But no, obviously that did not hit, but it's still fun to talk about because I fucking love gambling. And the fact that you could even place a bet on that is really wild. But yeah, overall pretty solid on the prop bets for us this year. I think we're getting the hang of it. What do you think? What are your thoughts, Brandon?
Yeah, next time I might dabble a little bit and throw some
Yeah,
money on it.
sprinkle,
You
dude.
know, why not?
Yeah.
Because yeah, it is a lot more fun when you got something riding on it. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
and frankly, I really wasn't paying attention to any of the props during the game. I mean,
Oh, really?
yeah, no, I mean, all this said, I mean, I knew it was inevitable. I felt like it was inevitable that the Chiefs were going to win this game.
Yeah.
And of course, that proved to be correct. It was a super entertaining game, in my opinion. I mean, yes, it was
I agree.
again, quiet in terms of scoring in that first half, but even a lot of people disagreeing with me in this one. I thought there was still a lot of entertainment, a lot of action in the first half, even though there were only 13 points put on the board.
Yeah.
And it really was. I mean, the thing I love about this type of match is that it was anyone's game all the way up until the very end, and that's what you want to
Correct.
see in a championship game, whether it be in any sport. So, I really had a good time. I enjoyed the game. I'm just bummed that here we go again with another fucking dynasty. Like,
Yeah. No, I know. And I actually thought San Francisco played a lot better than I thought they would. They got really unlucky a lot of times. I think Kansas City fumbled the ball 5 times and recovered 4
yeah,
of them.
yep,
That's crazy. And then there was that one the punt that knocked off of a San Francisco player's foot. Like that was the Chiefs' first touchdown. It was because they
yep,
got the ball at like the 10-yard line off of a crazy random punt
yeah.
that, it just happened to hit someone in the foot that didn't see it coming. And the blocked extra point by Moody, like all of these things, just everything was lining up for Kansas City. San Francisco played a hell of a game. They deserve to be in there. They probably deserve to win, but the Chiefs, man, there's just something magical when you're in the midst of a dynasty and you've got a quarterback that doesn't lose close games. I saw a stat that I wish I should have written it down, but Mahomes is 3-1 in playoff games where he is trailing by 10 points. Every other quarterback in playoff history that's trailed by 10 points is like 6-57 or something like that. Like it's just unbelievable what he does. He never feels like he's out of a game, and whenever he gets the ball and it's, hey, go win the game, he delivers.
Yeah.
So he's like the clutchest quarterback ever.
And he is.
Even more so than Tom Brady. It's just unbelievable
He
how
absolutely.
he's always in control of the game at the very
He's
end.
Mr. Clutch. The Chiefs did
Yeah.
deserve to win that game, all said and done, because the 49ers, like you mentioned, had multiple opportunities.
Oh, they should have put that game away, and they
So
didn't.
many chances to take control, and put their boot on the neck, so to speak, and they just couldn't do it. So yeah, I don't feel bad for the Niners. I mean, here's the thing. What I was going to say is, yes, Mahomes is Mr. Clutch. That's what you want in your franchise quarterback. But it really, to me, the credit goes to that Chiefs defense, which has been unbelievable all season long.
Yeah.
That was their win. They, because
Yeah.
there were, again, those opportunities where the 49ers could have tacked on 6 or 7 instead of 3, but the Chiefs were able to hold them to the 3, so
Yeah.
those are huge. And especially in overtime, getting them to that 4th and 4th, the 9-yard line, making them make that hard decision of kicking the field goal. Now, that said, if they had gone for it and scored a touchdown, would that have changed anything? Probably not. But it's huge, and it's a momentum boost for the Chiefs when they get the ball back. Like, oh shit, we're going to give it back to Mahomes. He's going to roll down the field. I mean, story as old as time. We all knew it was coming. The writing was on the wall.
And also, the biggest play of the game in my mind was at the 2-minute warning when Brock Purdy, it was 3rd and 4, and Brock Purdy dropped back. They blitzed Trent McDuffie. McDuffie got right in his face, and Purdy couldn't make an easy completion that would have been a first game. They would have been able to kneel out 90% of the clock, and that was the ball game. So not only did the Chiefs defensive players just show up and play great, Steve Spagnuolo,
Mhm.
dude. That fucking guy has to go down as one of the best playoff defensive coordinators of all time, if not the best. I mean, what he did with the Giants and what he's done on this Chiefs run is
So,
unbelievable.
yeah, that's
So
5 rings for him, right?
I believe so. I'm not sure if he was the Chiefs defensive coordinator on their first run,
Okay. All
but
right.
I know he's got 2 with the Chiefs and 2 with the
Okay.
Giants. So the guy just he schemes up blitzes better than any coach. He blitzes a lot, but he also knows when to blitz and when not to blitz. And yeah, Trent McDuffie, that play, man, it was so well done. He backed up like he was dropping into coverage. Purdy read it wrong. He blitzed. He was right in his face instantly. And I think he had Kittle wide open. That's who he was going to, and couldn't get it done because of the blitz by McDuffie. So Spagnuolo really deserves most of, if not like all the credit for this win. You know, Mahomes, of course, it did Mahomesian things, but you're right. It was that defense that kept him in the game the entire time. So yeah, I have no issues there. And also to get back to the overtime thing, everyone giving Shanahan a hard time for taking the ball. Both teams get a chance to score, right? So there is an advantage that the Chiefs had in knowing, oh, we've got to get it on 4th down or whatever. We know how many points we're going to need to either tie or win. But if they had just tied, then the 49ers get the ball with a chance to go win it. So they're the first ones with the actual like chance to go down, score, and not give the other team a chance to score back. So that was huge. And also the defense was fucking gassed at that point. Like if I were a coach, I'd say I want my defense off the field and getting a little rest for this overtime because I need them to go out and make a stop. So I think I would do what Shanahan did. And everybody was giving him a hard time. I don't think there's a wrong decision in there, but
No, there's
like,
not.
God,
There's not.
people were just shitting all over him for it. It's like, fuck,
Because
guys. Let's do some critical thinking here.
people love having somebody as the punching bag.
That's true.
One individual has to be blamed for everything. You know, I mean,
Correct.
it's you know. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's. You ready to dive in? You ready to go face first into our 2024-25 season bold predictions, Josh?
Dude, the people want it. They're craving it. It's one of my favorite things to do because we have no business making NFL predictions right now. We haven't even.
Sorry, you hit your Super Bowl prediction correct, meaning the matchup and the winner. Your score ever so slightly off, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, that's pretty damn good. Now, how about the bold predictions in general? Didn't you hit one of those also, or no?
Yeah, so
because I didn't hit any.
I don't have them in front of me, but I did say that the Lions would win their division,
right.
And I said Jared Goff would be an MVP candidate, and he was for like the first half of the season. He was putting up crazy numbers, and then the numbers declined for him, but the Lions were still winning games. So they did win the division. That wasn't the hottest take or the boldest prediction, but I'm still counting it as a win because, you know, that they're the fucking Lions.
Yeah, come on. I mean,
give me a
break. Was their first one in like 30 years, right? So that counts. That's bold.
Yeah, I would say I would hope so. But other than that, no, I missed on like Trevor Lawrence MVP. And then a few other. I think the Cardinals finishing last.
So I put the hex on Joe Burrow. You know, I'll never.
You did.
I'm sorry, Joe. I won't do it anymore. You know, spoiler alert. I've left him out of this slate of bold predictions. I'm done putting the hex on poor Joe Burrow. So the city of
Cincinnati thanks you for that.
Exactly. I'm getting the fan mail now. It's been pouring in just so many thank yous. You know, or death threats if I dare to add him to the list of bold predictions for this year, but it's not going to happen. So I have 4 that I put together. I believe you said you have 5. Is that right?
I have 5.
Okay.
I don't know why I have 5. I think I had 5 last year too.
Whatever.
You kind of want to be like Nostradamus and just make so many predictions that, you know, maybe one of them hits and then everyone focuses on that one and go, wow, that guy's a genius. He really had the foresight to see that. It's like, no, I just made a ton of predictions, but I think five is to me, not too many.
Yeah.
Right. With if I made 10, it would be like, oh, big fucking deal. 5 to me is a good number. 4 is an even better number. Cause if you hit 1 out of 4, I mean, that's 25%. That's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I could just toss another one in there, but it doesn't feel right. You know, I came up with 4, and I don't want to force it. Okay, these are the
Okay.
4 that I'm sticking by, and I have them in order from, you know, not as bold to nice, dark, hefty Colombian bold. Josh, that's what we're looking for.
I think mine are kind of in that order as well.
I like my predictions like I like my coffee, bold and Colombian. All right, let's get started here. Do you want to go kick off with your first one? I mean, we're gonna go back and forth, right? Is that how you want to do it?
Alternating. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember how we did it last
Doesn't
year.
matter.
I think we might. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, we can alternate. And yeah, I will go first since I have 5.
Okay,
So
there you
I'll
go.
kind of sandwich you in. But my first one, you're gonna love. You're gonna love
Ooh,
this.
all right.
My first bold prediction is that Commanders quarterback Drake May
Ooh,
will beat Andrew Luck's rookie passing yard record of 4,374 yards and will win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
wow, that's a 3-parter, I think, in one, because
I guess so. But yeah, they have to draft him.
That's number 1,
and then he has to break the record. If he breaks the record, he will win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
That's like kind of those are jointed together. I also think if they move up and get Caleb Williams, the same thing will happen. And the reason is this: I think Cliff Kingsbury is an extremely underrated defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator. I think he works really well with young quarterbacks. I mean, he took Kyler Murray to the playoffs. I think they started that season like 8-0. Like that's just really a very impressive thing to do. Also, you guys have weapons. You just haven't seen it because your coach is a fucking dinosaur and your quarterbacks have been below average. So get a really good quarterback in there, get a good young guy. I think it'll be kind of like you'll have a little CJ Stroud action, right? Great weapons, great offensive coordinator. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. So in order to make it bold, though, you got to say he's going to break a long-standing NFL record. So I'm putting my fucking nuts on the table and I'm saying that that's going to happen.
Okay. All right. Well, that's funny because now mine is not as detailed as yours because, again, that was like 3 and 1 right there. But I also have as my number 1 most likely to happen. And it has to do with the New York Football Giants and their roster. And
what do you
has
know?
to do with their quarterback. And I have the New York Giants drafting Daniel Jones' successor in this year's draft. Now, okay, you know, it's pretty vague, but no, here's why it's specific. Because, yes, I don't know who and I don't know when, but they're going to pick a guy that will catch some Giants fans off guard. You know, they could even maybe somehow trade in for a second pick in the first round and get him then. If there's somebody that's still there late in the round that they're like, you know what, we got to make a move here because it's worth it just in case.
Okay.
But the reason it's bold is because it's his successor, meaning whoever this individual is that is drafted, we will see him take over that starting job role in the upcoming season. So
that's what I was going to ask. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that. It's very reasonable. And yeah, it would take a lot of things to happen, but totally reasonable. I've even heard, some crazy trade speculation with Daniel Jones, but I don't think he's going to get traded. I think that he's going to be the guy that kind of shows the rookie that we draft the ropes, right? Let him sit for half of the year. And then once we are, 2-6 or whatever we're going to start the season as, let the young kid come in. He'll show up. People will be shocked by how good he is. And then Daniel Jones will get the boot in the offseason. So I like that one a lot. That's a brash take. And I like it. And dude, how crazy is it? I've got a Commanders one. You have a Giants one right off the bat. This is not planned, by the way. We do not share this list with each other.
Nope.
We want a real authentic reaction. So nicely done. All right. I'm going to stick in the NFC East also with my second pick. And this is one that I thought me and you might have the same bold prediction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the reason why I wore my Eagles green to the podcast. Nick Sirianni will be fired mid-season upon the Eagles' elimination from playoff contention. So that's kind of a two-parter also, because I'm basically saying the Eagles are not going to make the playoffs, and Nick Sirianni is going to get fired when that happens.
You know, I did almost throw that in there.
Really?
I contemplated that or Mike McCarthy, because both will be on a short leash in the upcoming season, and I could see either of them getting fired mid-season if things take a bad turn. But the reason I did not, Josh, is because I didn't want to do the reverse jinx. I didn't want to help them. So
great thinking, dude.
Perhaps for you, it'll work to our benefit, and that will happen. The Eagles have a terrible season. They fire their coach, and they're in disarray. But if I had done it, it probably just would have been.
They'd win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they'd win the Super Bowl if you had that prediction. You are definitely jinxier than I am, so I'm glad that you did that.
So I decided to jinx the Las Vegas Raiders instead.
Here comes the hate mail.
Here it comes. Oh my, it is pouring in. The Las Vegas Raiders, I got winning at least 9 or 10 games, sneaking into the wild card, Josh, and winning a playoff game next season.
Okay.
That's right. They are the AFC darling of next year. They take that spot from the Houston Texans, who had it this past season. So, I don't know, man, that Antonio Pierce, I know you and I are both a huge fan of his. Yeah. I mean, I just think that the Raiders just looked like a different team the second he stepped in as head coach, and they're going to fight for him. And, you know, the crazy thing about this prediction is that I have no idea who their quarterback's going to be.
That's what I was going to ask, because we did our quarterback prediction last week or the week before.
Yeah.
Who did you have in that
right here? I said Bo Nix.
Bo Nix. That's
which would be pretty fucking awesome if that happened.
Would be pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That I would love to see. Yeah. I would love to see that. The NFL's better when the Raiders are good. There's no doubt about it. They're one of those teams. So I hope you're right on that.
Or if they get Justin Fields or Kirk Cousins, Devontae Adams would be pretty sweet. But
Gardner Minshew.
That's right. You had Gardner Minshew. I don't care who it is. I'm sticking with my bold prediction that they make the wild card and win a playoff game. So there you have it. There's number 2.
All right, for my third pick, this one actually probably should have been in my number 1 spot, because I think it's probably the most likely to happen. It's the least brash out of all of these, I would say. But I think New England will finish with the league's worst record and get the number 1 pick in 2025. I think the Patriots are going to be god awful. I don't see a lot of hope on their horizon. Gerard Mayo could end up being this amazing head coach that just figures it out for him, but their lack of talent on both sides of the ball is alarming, and I don't know how much they can do in the draft with a new head coach to kind of right the ship. I could be wrong, but I really do not see them winning very many games. I think every other team that was kind of a bottom feeder last year is going to take a slight step up. I think the Commanders will be significantly better. I think the Panthers will be significantly better. I think New England's the only team that doesn't take another step up. I think they only finish with like 2 or 3 wins at most, and they're going to have that number 1 pick in 2025.
Okay, now I am in complete agreement with you. However, you are backtracking on our predictions that we made an episode or 2 ago, where we picked the coach. It was something, a little curveball I threw out there. Which rookie head coach will have the best season, which the worst? And you, from what I recall, you said it was Canales or whatever with the Panthers would have the worst season. And I said it was going to be Gerard Mayo and the Patriots. So yes, I completely agree with you, but I see you've turned around. You've come around, Josh.
I guess so. I don't remember that. We'll just have to play that clip here. Play that clip right here, right now. Because I like Canales. I'm surprised that I said that.
He's coaching the Panthers. So
that's true. That's very true. That's probably why I said it. But no, I think and you look at the divisions, like the Patriots are in the same division as the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets, who are getting Aaron Rodgers back.
Mhm.
Then you look at the NFC South, and it's still kind of a train wreck down there. We don't know what Atlanta's going to do for a quarterback. The Saints are dog shit, and the Buccaneers were good, but it's not like they're unbeatable. So I think Carolina takes a step up. I think the Patriots kind of stay where they're at, which means the worst record in the league. Stamp that shit.
All right. I know. I like it. I agree. Okay. My third bold prediction. I have to, I have to always go and pick an MVP. Again, every time I pick an MVP, bad things happen. So I apologize ahead of time. Feel free to share your hateful comments below. But I went with Josh Allen. Josh. That's right. Josh Allen winning his first ever MVP award. And this is where it's a little bit crazy because that's not really that bold. I mean, he's a great
he's one of the favorites.
You feel like he's due. I have him exceeding 50 total touchdowns, rushing and passing. That's right. He had 42 total this past season. I think he exceeds that and wins the MVP comfortably next year.
Damn. Okay.
It's just regular season MVP. What happens in the playoffs? Don't pay any attention to that. But yeah, there you have it. So I am so sorry, Buffalo Bills fans.
Yeah,
I apologize ahead of time.
More hate mail just pouring in, dude.
And death threats.
Not, if you're listening to this, do not draft Josh Allen in your fantasy leagues.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
He will not last long.
He will not. Brandon's curse. They are strong, and Josh Allen, you can just see it happening. But no, I think that's a good pick. I do think he's one of the favorites, but it's so hard to predict MVPs this early.
Yeah.
So I like that. I'm going to switch up my order because you just did an MVP. I have an MVP in here as well. It was my fifth prediction, but I'm going to scoot it up so we can go back to back MVP talk.
Okay.
My bold prediction is that the MVP will not be a quarterback for the first time since 2012. Christian McCaffrey will take home the award. He's going to break Chris Johnson's 2,509 total yard mark, set an NFL record there, and he's going to score 25 plus touchdowns, receiving and rushing. I don't think he'll break LaDainian Tomlinson's record, but I think he's going to get so many yards. And he's at plus 4,000 odds right now. There are 16 quarterbacks ahead of him for MVP voting, according to Las Vegas. So he's a total long shot because, running backs just don't win this award. I think Adrian Peterson was the last one to do it. And I just see him coming off of this Super Bowl pissed off and fired up. And I think he just takes out all of his aggression on the field. I think one of the main reasons that San Francisco kind of shit the bed in that third quarter is because they didn't feed him the ball enough. I think Shanahan knows it. I think McCaffrey knows it. And I think he comes into the league next year fired up. Okay. And I also think that the quarterbacks that you expected to win, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, all those guys, I think they have solid years, but I think you can make enough of a case for Christian McCaffrey to overtake them because their numbers aren't going to be so electric that you go, oh, well, that guy has to win MVP. I mean, if Josh Allen has 50 touchdowns, he has to be MVP, right? But not to shit on your prediction, I don't think he does. And I think Christian McCaffrey does make enough of a case by breaking an NFL record and scoring 25 touchdowns that they go, we have to give it to CMC, regardless of how the 49ers finish. It has to be him. First time since 2012, plus 4,000 odds. I'm going to do a little off-season sprinkle on that because I think that's value. I think there's value in that.
So there you have, for those keeping track, do not draft Josh Allen or Christian McCaffrey in your upcoming fantasy draft for next year.
They'll both be injured by week 4. How about that for a prediction?
They will not make it to week 6. All right. Well, I have one more. The one more bold prediction. You have one more as well. Now, again, I'm going what I feel is in order from most likely to least likely. This
Yeah.
one is definitely least likely. But it's near and dear to my heart. And here I go. I got it. Jinx my
Okay.
own
I
burgundy
know
and
it. I know
gold.
it.
I'm going with the Washington Commanders, who finished 0-6 this past year in division games, Josh. 0-6. It's been a while since they've done that. Now, of course, I've seen it quite a few times in my lifetime because we've been dog shit for so long. But there's a new man in charge. There's a new general manager who's going to bring in some real talent this offseason. I do think the team will take a significant step up and just being competitive. I mean, those last 8 games were rough this past year. But though they're going to have some fighting spirit. And I am not making a prediction in terms of how far they'll go or how many total games they will win. But I feel comfortable in saying out of their 6 divisional games, they will win 4. They go 4-2 in NFC East
All
games.
right.
I like Dan Quinn against NFC East opponents this season. So there you have it.
We did talk about that when he was
Mhm.
hired, that he has a huge leg up, so much experience against the NFC East, and obviously huge leg up against the Cowboys. Like, that's where he came from. So
Yep.
that's huge. I love that prediction. I think that is very sound, very solid, very astute. My my last one
Is
is
it crazy?
it's a crazy one. It's so crazy. I tried to Google if it had ever happened, and I couldn't even find if anyone has ever kept track of it. I didn't try very hard, so maybe I'll try a little bit when we're not
Okay.
recording. But I have it down that none of the 4 teams featured in the NFC or AFC championship games will win their respective divisions. So the Lions will not win the North. The Ravens will not win the North. The Niners will not win the West, and the Chiefs will not win the West. I think there's a new sheriff in town for all 4 of those divisions, and that's a crazy thought because you
Wow.
have 4 teams going all the way to 1 game shy of the Super Bowl or in the Super Bowl, and none of them winning the division. I think they're all probably playoff teams, but for the Lions, I got the Packers winning the North. The Ravens, I've got the Bengals winning the AFC North. For the 49ers, I've got the Rams winning the NFC West. And the Chiefs, I've got the Chargers winning the
And
AFC West.
you love those Chargers, my friend. I
do,
know,
man.
but you're not the only
new
one.
sheriff in town.
That's a one sexy pick.
They're a very trendy pick this year. But I just thought, I'm thinking to myself, like, as I'm thinking about division winners, and I looked up, what divisions are matched up with other divisions. I thought, man, that would be crazy if none of the 4 teams that played for the NFC or AFC championship games would win their division. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
No,
and
I like it.
I couldn't find it. So I don't know if it's ever happened before.
I'm sure it's happened before.
I don't know, man. That's a pretty crazy thing. Those are the 4 teams that went the deepest, and to have none of them win their division, pretty nutty.
Okay. Good deal. So I guess we're getting into our Super Bowl 59 predictions, aren't we?
We sure are. It is that time.
Okay. Oh, right then. So, Super Bowl LIX, also referred to as Super Bowl Licks, Josh.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be calling it Super Bowl Licks. That's what everyone's calling it, Super Bowl Licks. I felt like we were going to have the same. I don't know why. Just when I made my prediction, I was like, I feel like Josh is going to have the exact same prediction, and I'll be honest. I've been thinking about it for the last 2 weeks, multiple different matchups. First I was like, I'll go with that one. No. And then I keep talking myself out of it. But this one, for whatever reason, I stuck to it. And I actually went back and forth with the winner. And then I went with the final score. So there was a lot of thought that went into this, Josh, on our 59th episode for Super Bowl 59 predictions. I wanted to make it count because my predictions have not been doing good for the Super Bowl. What did I have last? I had Bengals, Eagles. And then before that, I had Packers Titans. Remember that? Packers
I
Titans.
remember that.
That seems like it was 20 years ago now. But and boy, did they fall off. But let's all right. So how about this? We'll each name our AFC winner, and then we'll each name our NFC winner, and then we can then give our final score and
I like
winner
that.
predictions.
I like that.
Then we'll make our predictions for who's going to be the Super Bowl halftime show, which I did not write down, but that would be fun.
By the way, we didn't talk about this. Usher fucking killed the halftime show. I'm just going to go on record. I'm going to go on record and say it now. I thought he did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, the roller skates, little weird, but overall good halftime performance. Apparently, it was one of the longer ones in history, like 35 minutes. Apparently,
damn. Yeah, that's how you know it was good, because it didn't even feel that long.
No, it was good. I mean, it was as advertised, in my opinion. I knew it was going to be good. So, yes, nice little side note there. So let's go with our AFC champions, Josh, of the 24-25 NFL campaign. You just want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Well, spoiler. Actually, it's not really much of a spoiler at all. This team, I simply cannot see not making it to the Super Bowl next year. I cannot see them not, I mentioned it earlier, not making it to the conference championship. They're going to make it to the conference championship. They're going to represent the AFC yet again. That's right. The boring pick, that is the Kansas City Chiefs, return to the Super Bowl again. Yeah. And, if you're not sick of it yet, you will be sick of it by next Super Bowl. So Kansas City returns to the Super Bowl once again to represent the American Football Conference. Josh.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to pick against them, but I'm gonna do it because I do think that they make a playoff push. I think they probably end up in the AFC Championship game, but I think that the team that has played them consistently well over the past few years has been the San Diego. That's right, San Diego Chargers. Wow. And I think that this is the year that they get over the hump. I think they just needed a good coach. And I think Harbaugh is going to be that guy. I think that the Chargers already have a really good roster. I think they're going to trade away some of their key pieces like a Joey Bosa or a Khalil Mack. They're going to get younger and faster on defense. They're going to emphasize the run game. I don't know if that's with Eckler. There's been some talks about Saquon Barkley going there. If that happens, that I fucking love it, because Saquon's ready to be on a good team. And I think that they just play smart football. They keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. They win that division, and then they go on a little run in the playoffs, and they win the AFC. I looked it up. They're at plus 1,300 to win the AFC. So kind of long shots, but Vegas knows a little something, because it's not that crazy at plus 1,300. So I just think that the culture there has sucked. Now they're going to have a culture guy who gives them an identity, and they're going to finally put that talent to use. Also, he's going to draft unbelievably well. He's been fucking prospecting for Michigan for how long? He knows all the guys that are coming into this draft. So I think they just have a great run in the draft. They get younger, faster on defense, and the Chargers are going to be a force next year and make a Super Bowl run.
Wow. Okay. I hope you're right. Again, I am not going with what I want to happen. Okay.
Right.
I'll give what I want to happen after we're done with our predictions here, but I'm going with, I'm really trying to get this one right. So I'm going with, what do you really think? What do you feel is going to happen next year? So you got the Chargers representing the AFC. I got the Chiefs returning yet again to the Super Bowl. But who will they play? Who from the NFC is going to give it the old college try this time? And I bounced around a few ideas, but I ended up landing on one that even surprised me. But it made a lot of sense at the end of the day, and I'm starting to feel like this is going to be your NFC winner too. I just got a weird feeling about it. I went with your Los Angeles Rams. That's right, the Rams, who finished the regular season winning 7 out of their last 8 games. They did lose to the Lions. That was a tough matchup. Stafford returning to Detroit. We all know what happened there, and he got his ass kicked. And I don't even know, again, Stafford in all likelihood will be their starting quarterback again next season if he doesn't retire. I'd still leave the window open for that. But if he sticks around, I almost like it even more. That they go and instead of the dark horse candidate of Kirk Cousins making the trip and hooking up with Sean McVay yet again, that'd be a cool duo also. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I just feel like Rams Chiefs is your Super Bowl matchup of Super Bowl 59, and are we going with our total predictions, or do you want to finish your matchup first?
I'll throw mine in the mix first, and then we'll talk about winners.
Okay.
I'm shocked that you went with the Rams because you texted me the other day and said, what's the likelihood Stafford retires or something like that, and I was like,
it was cooking.
Holy shit, dude. Like, I didn't think that was a possibility at all. I thought he was for sure going to play this season. I still don't see any reason why he wouldn't. They went on that run last year. They played really well. The thing that impressed me the most about the Rams was how good their offensive line play was. They went from one of the worst in the league, made it all the way to like middle of the pack, which because they're younger, I think they'll only get better. So they've got Puka Nacua, who's an unbelievable young wide receiving talent. Kyron Williams, who played out of his mind. Yep. Like they're kind of stacked. Not many people are talking about the Rams. I think that they're going to be very good this year, which is why I picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
You got the all LA. I knew you were going to go
all LA.
Once I heard the Chargers.
Right. The Los Angeles Bowl is what I think is going to happen, and it just makes a lot of sense in my mind. And for all those reasons, I've got the Rams going to the Super Bowl representing the NFC. So I'm really surprised that you went there. I thought you were going to be on the Packers. I would have guessed Packers.
See, so I was half right. I was half right because I the second I was done making this pick, I was like, I think we're gonna have the same one because I couldn't see you going against the Chiefs. I know how much you love the Chiefs and believe in their dynasty, which of course again we're in the middle of right now.
I've been on it early, dude. Early on.
I know.
I've been on it.
I know. Let me see. I'm trying to see something.
Three-peating, dude. Three-peating is just so fucking hard in this league. I just don't see it happening. And I do think the Chargers are the team to do it. They've been in those games every time they play the Chiefs, even with backup quarterbacks. Like they're in those games. They're just the Chiefs bugaboo. And if it's not them, it's the Bengals. I like the Bengals this year a lot too. So I think one of those two teams knocks the Chiefs out of the playoffs.
Again, I hope you're right. Okay. I looked it up to see if the Super Bowl was going to be in LA next year because that would be too much.
It would be too much. It's in New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. It said Caesars, and I was like, "What the fuck, Caesars?" And it's the Superdome.
It's the Superdome.
Yeah, Caesars. All right, so the my final score for Super Bowl 59: Chiefs 27, Los Angeles Rams 33. That's right, the Rams knock off the Goliath that is the Kansas City Chiefs. The Rams win the hoist the Lombardi Trophy. Matt Stafford is your MVP. He walks out into the sunset, a proud two-time Super Bowl champion, and that is the end of a beautiful football career for Mr. Stafford. So there you have it. There's my Super Bowl champion, the LA Rams. I thought about this. All right, long and hard. This wasn't just a really snap judgment. All right, I put some real thought into it, Josh. So who you got?
Well, I think that we can go ahead and declare the Rams not getting anywhere near the Super Bowl because I've got the Rams winning it at plus 3,500 odds. I've got them defeating the Chargers 31-24 and winning the Super Bowl. And
Jesus,
like you said, Matt Stafford going off into the sunset, a two-time Super Bowl champion. Not good. That so we both ended up on the Rams winning the Super Bowl.
Rams fans, feel free to send that hate mail and death threats to Cindy. That's Cindy at brashsports.com.
Make sure to attach your resume.
And we will not open the hate mail or death threats without a copy of your resume attached.
Dude, I am shocked that we're both on the Rams winning the Super Bowl. That's fucking crazy. I never would have guessed in a million years. I thought you were going to go like Packers and then like Packers Chiefs or Packers Bengals and just double down on the Bengals, but you're smart to stay away from the Bengals this year, but now we have just cursed the Rams beyond belief. I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs now.
All right. Well, I know. Now I hate it.
But, I hate it so much now, dude. All right, but hey, we could be onto something. Who knows?
Halftime prediction? Anything? You want to throw something out there?
Green Day. We'll go Green Day.
All right.
They'll switch it up to a little rock and roll. Green Day.
I don't hate that. I'll go, even though she's been there before, I'll go Beyonce. In Nolans.
Not going to have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I looked it up. She actually was Super Bowl 50.
Yes,
so
I remember
not too long ago. But all right, the Super Bowl I wanted, just for what it's worth. Dream scenario. Obviously, the Redskins,
of course,
team formerly known as the Redskins, they're not sniffing anywhere close to that. So realistically, Bengals Lions.
I knew it. I knew that was going to be your dream scenario. I would say that's probably a dream scenario for me too. Two franchises that just deserve it. They've fucking hung in there for this long.
Bengals Lions.
With
how cool would that be?
It would be so cool. So I hope that's how it plays out.
And I like to see Bengals win for what it's worth. But then again, I really wouldn't care. No dog or cat in the fight for the Bengals Lions. But
I do think the Lions take a step back this year, though. For whatever, it's just a gut feeling.
Yeah,
it just feels like they're going to be one of those teams that gets so far and then regresses. Right. It sucks to say.
Little too big for their britches, Josh.
Yeah, I think so, dude. But the Big Cat Bowl, I want to see it. The Big Cat Bowl would be better than the Los Angeles Bowl, because that's just nobody wants to see that.
The Big Cat Bowl, brought to you by Meow Mix. All right, that's it. On that note, I think we can Super Bowl wrap this one up. That is crazy. Now Dennis, again, I did have a feeling we were going to go with the same Super Bowl, but I thought you were going to have the Chiefs repeating again for that three-peat, and then Andy Reid retiring since you did that last predictions. But anyway,
that's what'll end up happening though.
Bet against the Rams. Everybody bet hard against the Rams. Josh Allen and Christian McCaffrey, and the Raiders. Just makes.
There it is. All right, buddy.
All right, my friend. That was fun. Till next time.
All right. Godspeed.